sitting here with my Father, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my Father. Sounds like a shakedown, doesn't it, Director?
I'm not going to get into commenting on that.
You seem deeply uncurious about it, don't you? Almost suspiciously uncurious. Are you protecting the Bidens?
Absolutely not. The FBI
well,
does not and has no interest in
You won't answer the question about whether or not that's a shakedown, and everybody knows why you won't answer it. Because to the millions of people who will see this, they know it is. And your inability to acknowledge that is deeply revealing about you.
Deeply revealing. Joining me now, Margot Cleveland, senior legal correspondent with the great Federalist. Margot, what was your biggest takeaway from all that Christopher Wray nonsense today?
Well, there were several takeaways. Honestly, my biggest one was when Wray was trying to justify the FBI passing on to Twitter information about Ukraine, saying that there's Russian influence. And what Wray said there was, well, we, the FBI, had to do it because Ukraine couldn't talk to them directly because of the Russian invasion. And I said, wait a second. You mean that our social media companies, our American social media companies, are taking requests from foreign intelligence agencies to remove American speech? That really shocked me. And I think that is one of the few things that we learned that were new here.
Margot, now you're the legal expert. I certainly am not. That sounds incredibly illegal.
Well, I'm not sure if it is illegal that it's the foreign country doing it with our social media companies where the FBI is not involved. But once the FBI gets involved, then we've got this huge First Amendment issue, which was another really fascinating takeaway from the entire hearing, where you had the different congressmen and women talking about this case against the FBI. And what does Wray say? Oh, no. We're not censoring speech. We're just making suggestions about what they should do. I'm sorry, the federal judge looked at the evidence and said a reasonable jury is likely to find that you caused, coerced, induced this type of censorship. So for Wray to say that was really laughable.
This exchange between Jim Jordan and Wray about Catholics, I thought was pretty interesting.
Do you think priests should be informants inside the church, Director?
We do not recruit, open, or operate confidential human sources to infiltrate, target, report.
But that's not what this said. It sounds like you were trying to do it in Richmond, Virginia.
No, sir. No, sir.
You weren't? This didn't happen? You can assure us that this didn't happen?
That product did not, to as best as we can tell, result in any investigative action as a result of it. None.
You know what the motivation for this was? Why would they even think about doing this? You know what the motivation was?
Well, again, I think that's what our internal review will find.
They're reviewing it internally, Margot. Nothing happened.
Right. So a couple things here. I think Jordan was right when he talked about the political implications, but I think he was half wrong that that is the only reason for this. What was the motivation? The FBI has in place where they pay and they expect the agents to come forward with so many cases fitting under domestic terrorism. And what better way to do it than call these hardened Catholics domestic terrorists? So I think that there was another motivation there. But I also thought it was fascinating that Wray said, not to the best of our knowledge. Well, you know what Wray also told them, not to the best of their knowledge? That they were not using 702, which is part of the FISA, to go and spy on or determine who was involved in January 6th and the riots. So to the best of his knowledge isn't meaning much, even though he is the director of the FBI.
Margot, do you think Christopher Wray has any fear whatsoever of the GOP? Because every time I see one of these FBI stooges, mainly Wray, go sit in front of the House or the Senate, my main takeaway from all of it is they don't fear the GOP at all.
I don't think that he does. And when I see him testify, what I think is he really thinks that he is doing the right thing, and that any of the problems that happened weren't based on what he did. So the Richmond, that wasn't what he wanted. What happened under Comey wasn't what he wanted. But what was telling to me here was when he was given the chance to say it was absolutely wrong that our FBI went in a SWAT-like raid to arrest a pro-life family man with his family there. When his lawyer said he would turn himself in, Wray said, I'm not going to second guess our agent. He should have second guessed his agents. The only fact he needed to know there was that the lawyer said that this father would turn himself in. So I think that Wray has kind of the company man mentality, and anything that went wrong, they're going to look at internally. But you got to trust us. We have these family days at the FBI. Everybody's a good, happy family. And what happened, Durham points out, that's not what I see with the day-to-day. Well, I'm sorry, you're the director, and you need to clean up house. Even if it's only these few highly politicized cases of Trump and Biden, that has more ramifications than the day in, day out things that you're doing.
Speaking of Family Day, I thought this little exchange between Swalwell and Wray was pretty revealing.
But I want to talk more about your workforce because that's where you started. A couple weeks ago at the Bureau, you had Family Day. Can you tell us what Family Day is?
Family Day is an opportunity for employees from really all over the FBI. It tends to be primarily from the nearby geographies because of the trip that they have to make, to employees to bring their families into FBI headquarters so that they can see a little bit about the place their loved ones work and why mom or dad is spending so much time away from home.
You see any little kids at Family Day?
Many, many, many. It's an opportunity for us to say thank you to the families. We talk a lot in law enforcement about sacrifice, but the reality is that law enforcement officers and professionals are sacrificing to do what they love. Our families are sacrificing because of who they love.
And what?
It's so touching. It's a real family environment over there. But isn't it really revealing, Margot, that that's the line of questioning from Democrats to the FBI director?
Oh, absolutely. It was all about Family Day. And on the other extreme, all of the threats. So I think there were a handful of threats made to the FBI offices where they were horrible things. There should not be doxing where you have public addresses of FBI. Obviously, I think it was Memphis, but I can't recall for sure where it was, where they had an attack on an FBI agent's, office. All of that's horrible, but that has nothing to do with what they're talking about. What you're seeing the Democrats try to do is say, you cannot condemn the FBI's misconduct, because if you do, it means that some criminal is going to go and attack them. So we have to pretend none of the bad stuff went on. I actually thought you were going to play the clip where Eric talked about all the nudes on the laptop, which I kind of chuckled over. He was trying to make Hunter Biden's about nudes. I'm like, is that all he looked at on the laptop? Because really what the laptop had was Joe Biden, the Hunter Biden pay-to-play scandals. So I guess he kind of got sidetracked with some other types of videos.
Yeah, well, it's just got lost in the lights, I guess. Margot, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jesse.
Are you tired of watching your beloved nation fall prey to the insidious grip of communism? The Anti-Communist Manifesto by Jesse Kelly is the ultimate guide to fighting back against this destructive force. Discover the shocking truth about communism infiltrating our education system, corporations, and even environmental movements. Unmask the true agenda behind groups like Antifa and Black Lives Matter, and learn how to protect the United States from the most malicious enemy. With extensive documentation of past atrocities, you'll see the undeniable danger posed by this ideology. Arm yourself with knowledge and join the fight to preserve the American way of life. The Anti-Communist Manifesto, a new must-read book from Jesse Kelly. Get your copy today at jessekellybook.com or wherever books are sold.